that we would all stand for our invocation, led by Pastor John Seal of the Spring Hill Avenue United Methodist Church. Yes, sir. Followed by our Pledge of Allegiance.
First off, thank you all for the opportunity to be here. I am a native Mobilian, so this is a great honor for me. Thank you.
Glad to have you.
I would like to actually start the invocation with a short scripture reading, if you wouldn't mind. Be shepherds of God's share, excuse me. Be shepherds of God's flock that is under your care, serving as overseers, not because you must, but because you are willing, as God wants you to be. Not greedy for money, but eager to serve. Not lording over it those entrusted to you, but being examples to the flock. And when the chief shepherd appears, you will receive the crown of glory that will never fade away. That was from 1 Peter. This is the word of God for the people of God. Thanks be to God. We must always remember that God opposes the proud, but gives grace to the humble. Let us pray together. Father, we thank you for the many blessings that you've given us. We thank you for the opportunity to be here in this room today, to serve and to lead your children. We ask that your Spirit be with us today in this building, to not just lead us, but to open our hearts and to our minds to your will. Father, let your Spirit give us discernment and compassion and love that we're supposed to share with each other. And as the children of God, let us all say the prayer that Jesus taught us, the Lord's Prayer. Our Father, who art in heaven, hallowed be thy name. Thy kingdom come, thy will be done, on earth as it is in heaven. Give us this day our daily bread, and forgive us our trespasses, as we forgive those who trespass against us. And lead us not into temptation, but deliver us from evil. For thine is the kingdom, and the power, and the glory forever. Amen.
Before we would continue, we're going to ask that we'd have a moment of silence. Councilwoman Gregory, as one also Councilwoman Bess Rich.
I'm sure you all are aware by now of the horrific shooting on Sunday in Sutherland, Texas, at the Baptist church there. As church members were getting ready for their services that day, a gunman came in and opened fire on the church, and at least 26 victims, probably more by now because there were so many casualties and injuries, people going to the hospital. So if you would please, in your own way, just a moment of silent prayer for the people of Sutherland, Texas, and especially for the victims and their families of this horrific incident in Sutherland, Texas.
And if I might add, Terry Grodsky, who was a tremendous community advocate in our city. She was in charge of the retirement volunteer program, the RSVP, and it was a very sudden loss to this community, and she will be greatly missed, and really appreciate your prayers for her family and her friends.
Let us pray. Thank you.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
This is the regular meeting of the Mobile City Council, Tuesday, November 7th. Vice President Manzi.
Here.
Councilmember Richardson.
Here.
Councilmember Small.
Here.
Councilmember Williams. Councilmember Daves.
Here.
Councilmember Rich.
Here.
Councilmember Gregory.
Here.
Statement of rules.
We're glad to see each and every one of you all here today, participating in our city council meeting. Began a brand new term on yesterday and look forward to 4 years or more progress. Our rules are quite simple here at the Mobile City Council. We ask that you turn off all electronic devices before or upon entering the meeting. Any person desiring to address the council must sign in indicating the resolution or the ordinance in which you'd like to speak. When addressing the council, the speaker must state his or her name and your address. Any person desiring to speak to the council on a non-agenda item has that prerogative, but you must contact the clerk's office no later than 2 p.m. of the Thursday prior to the council meeting. The subject that you want to address must be identified, and it must be germane to City of Mobile business. Any person who has not given proper notice to the clerk's office and wishes to speak on a non-agenda item will not be allowed to address the council. All speakers are allowed 5 minutes. A bell will sound to indicate the end of 4 minutes. 1 minute remains for summarizing. The second bell indicates that your time, unfortunately, has expired. When addressing the council, there is to be no personal address to any individual council member. All statements are to be made to the chair. You're looking at the chair. All statements are made to the chair, who will recognize any council member who wishes to respond. To maintain decorum, there will be no undue applause and or public outcry allowed. Communications from the mayor.
Good morning.
Morning.
Yesterday we had the opportunity, the City Council and myself, to be sworn in twice. I guess that means we're going to do twice as much, being sworn in twice for the oath, taking the oath of office for this next term. I speak not just for myself, but for the City Council. We are honored to serve you and to represent you. As I look into the crowd, I see at least three of our veterans who are dressed so that we can distinguish that they're veterans. Friday is Veterans Day. We're certainly grateful to those that are here, but for the so many veterans that are obviously not here, those that have gone on to another assignment. So thank you so much for your service if you're watching this meeting, but thank you especially to those that showed up here today. We can only be doing the things that we do to run government because of the sacrifice that so many veterans have made so that we can have a free country. So we're tremendous and grateful hearts. You know, in a little bit of uncharted territory as we go forward, anytime you're in uncharted territory, it tends to create tension in the air. I would like to remind my administration as well as the City Council that we should be acting with a model of decorum and civility in redressing each other. And it's just very important that we remember that as we go forward working together to create the city that we all want it to be. So we look forward to this next term and look forward to working with you.
We now have a special proclamation coming from Councilman C.J. Small.
And good morning to the chair, to my colleagues on the council, to the mayor, his administration, to the citizens that are present this morning. Good morning.
Good morning.
For it's good to be gathered this morning under one roof to handle the city business. This coming Saturday is a very important day, November the 11th. A very important federal holiday that honors our military veterans. And I would like to recognize one citizen in District 3, Navy SEAL Jesse Taylor. Will you please come down? Mr. Taylor is a very humble individual. Received 37 medals, 3 Purple Hearts, and I am a firm believer that you give people their flowers while they are alive, for they may see and smell its beauty that it brings. Thank you, sir. proclamation, and it reads, whereas Navy SEAL Chief Jesse Taylor is being honored in appreciation for his courageous service in the defense of our nation and his major contribution towards the preservation of our freedom during the Mobile City Council meeting on Tuesday, November 7, 2017. And whereas he is a retired veteran of the United States Navy after 13 years of dedicated services, including reserve time. And whereas Navy SEAL Chief Taylor served during the Desert Storm War in Kuwait and in Vietnam War, where he received a total of 32 medals, some from the South Vietnamese Army and 3 Purple Hearts. He was a spot artist, reported the outcome of his sightings through drawings, served on a riverboat in Macon Delta and Da Nang, South Korea, and whereas Navy SEAL Taylor is a member of the American Legion and a veteran of foreign wars, and whereas we owe a great debt to him for his contribution to the advancement of the cause of an honorable world peace. Now, therefore, I, C.J. Small, council member of District 3, along with the mayor and the members of the Mobile City Council, do hereby proclaim Tuesday, November 7th, 2017, as Navy SEAL Jesse Taylor Day in Mobile, and urge all citizens to join with us in thanking Navy SEAL Jesse Taylor for risking his life in defense of the principles of justice, freedom, democracy, which is continued to enjoy as American citizens. Done at the City of Mobile, Alabama, this 7th day of November 2017. C.J. Small, Council Member, District 3.
This is a great honor, and I accept this for all veterans. The heroes got left behind. I don't consider myself a hero, and I'm sure most of the other veterans that come back don't consider themselves as heroes. We lost a lot of good men and a lot of wars, and I hope that someday this world will be living in peace, and we won't have to lose our young men to war. Thank you all very much, and God bless you.
God bless you.
Mr. Vice President?
Yes, sir.
Chief, if I could say 2 words to you.
Yes, sir.
Go Navy.
Thank you, sir.
So move. Okay.
I'd like to say something about Jesse. Jesse and I were stationed in Nam together out of the river bank. I don't have the medals that Jesse has, but I have a few. Jesse's the highest decorated Navy SEAL that I know of, and I've served. He was a tunnel rat. He went in and blew up the tunnels where nobody in the military likes to do that. And it's the very most dangerous job there is, because he has to get out of there before that charge comes on. You don't put too much time on. Also, this man is famous. His great-great-grandfather was President Zach McKinley. Wow. And his great-grandfather, General Richard Taylor in the Confederacy, surrendered to the North. That was his great-grandfather, General Taylor. And he does all the enactments now as a general. He has his uniform, he has everything. He's a wonderful greatest artists I have. I have paintings on my wall at home I wouldn't take anything for. He's the only man that has Elvis Presley's painting hanging in Elvis Presley's bedroom in Graceland. This man's paintings need to be seen. He paints them for people and sells them like this and that. But this man is a good artist. He's been painting since he was 10 years old. And everything gets recognized here in Mobile, but the people that really deserve it. This man should have been recognized a long time ago. He lives here in Mobile. You know what that would do for Mobile? If people around the United States knew about this man? He saved a Marine detachment. He was wounded 3 times. The man stood and did what he was supposed to do. If that don't deserve him the Congressional Medal of Honor, I don't know what else does. And I'm working on that right now, just like I worked on this, and this man right here worked on it with me too. This is J.C., my brother-in-law. He was in the Navy. But he deserves the Congressional Medal of Honor, and I've got Dr. Booth working on him. I've got, I just have to get, I'm trying my best to get a hold of President Trump. Because this man needs to be recognized. That's going to show something good for Mobile too.
Amen.
That's all I ever want to do is do things good for Mobile. Mayor, as soon as I can, I want a conference with you to show you how to get these young men off the street.
Amen.
Thank you.
Adoption of the agenda.
So moved.
Second.
All those in favor, let the sign of
Aye.
aye. Agenda's adopted.
Appeals. We have requests for waiver of the noise ordinance on November 11th and 12th on Albert Street and November 12th on Mallard Drive.
So moved. Second.
There's been properly motion and second. Any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed?
Public hearings. Today is the public hearing to rezone property at 7681 O'Shell Road and 7660 Monk Avenue, area bounded by O'Shell Road, Monk Avenue, Alverson Road North, and Harding Boulevard from R1 to B3.
Is there anyone here today that would like to speak about the properties just referenced by our city clerk? Mr. Hoffman?
Good morning, Bert Hoffman, Planning and Zoning Department. When I was reviewing the file during the pre-council meeting this morning, I noticed that the information that planning provided to City Council was incorrect. The applicant had requested a B3 zoning. The Planning Commission approved a downzoning to LB2, which is limited neighborhood business. Therefore, the advertising for the council meeting was incorrect in that it showed it as B3 request instead of a LB2. So I believe this means that this has to be held over and re-advertised by the City Council.
Yeah. Mr. Chairman?
Yes, ma'am.
Mr. Hoffman did bring that to our attention this morning. There has been no opposition to this particular rezoning, but we will send it back out for re-advertising. And Ms. Lambert, our clerk, gave us a date of December 12th to have this back on our agenda again, which should give us plenty of time.
And we'll have the corrected information to her office today.
Thank you, Mr. Hoffman. Appreciate it.
Thank you.
Is there a motion?
No,
here.
Just a public.
Just
hearing.
Anyone else here that would like to discuss the properties referenced in this particular public hearing? Then that concludes the public hearing.
All right.
Presentation of petitions and other communications to the council. Dr. Richardson, Raul Richardson.
Good morning, Dr. Raul Richardson, 650 Clinic Drive, Mobile, Alabama, 36608. I'm no stranger to city council meetings, and I mentioned to Pastor Seal that he was cutting in on my territory by offering the opening invocation. But I'm not here today for the invocation. I'm here to share with you an upcoming event that I think is vitally important as we've recognized, and most importantly, appropriately, the contributions of these fine gentlemen in light of the approaching Veterans Day. I wanted to draw attention to a program for which I'm a board member that provides income-challenged senior citizens nutritious meals. And with that said, I'm going to give the mic to Ms. Lisa Davis, who's the Executive Director of A Servant's Love Incorporated.
Good morning.
Good morning.
I am a stranger to the city council meetings, unlike Raul, but I'm going to do my best because my passion is senior citizens and serving within our community. I am the co-founder and executive director of A Servant's Love Incorporated, and our organization aims to serve, teach, and empower. And what we do best is provide nutritious foods to income-challenged senior citizens throughout Mobile County. We are currently ending our 12th year of this program, and our program is, our #1 program is the Senior Nutrition and Wellness Program. We currently have 200 seniors that we are providing nutritious foods for on a monthly basis. These are not already prepared meals. These are items that they can cook. They can prepare themselves. A lot of our seniors are independent in living. Some of them live with family members, but several of them are grandparents raising grandchildren or raising grandnieces and grandnephews. And what we do is we provide non-perishable food items. We provide paper products, and we also provide meats and things like that. We've got some wonderful supporters that are working with us. The AHEPA Foundation, for one, Kimberly-Clark Corporation is another, Super Target is another. And we also, I can't say enough about Dayspring Baptist Church, which is my church home, that has given us a place to do this distribution for these 12 years. And I also want to say we try to do a lot of different collaborative things with the Alabama Cooperative Extension System. They help us out. They provide information. We give our seniors nutritional and educational information because our goal is to keep them as independent as possible, keep them as healthy as possible so that they can stay out of the hospitals. And, you know, everybody wants to be able to take care of themselves. All of our seniors, the 200 seniors that we have right now, and we consistently have a waiting list for our program, all of our seniors qualify based on their age and based on their income. So everyone is 60 years of age or older, and they qualify based on their income. And we use the USDA guidelines to poverty as to determining who qualifies for this program. Through all of our donations and everything that we give, we've been able to give our seniors at least $60, $75 value of product, including the non-perishables, the paper products, the meats, and everything like that. We have been blessed in receiving a lot of in-kind donations, which has been, I must say, International Paper Company. They have been giving us the boxes. So everything right now, we've got a lot of in-kind donations, but as we all know, those hard dollars are in need as well for us to be able to continue to do the work that we're doing. We also do some work with some local schools, and we also have a holiday giving, something that we do not advertise because, you know, it would get out of hand. But we work with these schools to identify families in need, and during the holidays, we're able to serve them as well. Our fundraiser, the A Tasty Affair, a farm-to-table dinner experience, is coming up on November 16th. You're all welcome. I've provided some information about that. It will be downtown at the Steeple. Tickets are $40 each, and I can say that 100% of what we get in goes back into our community. Our seniors are all over Mobile County, so from Sims to Pritchard to Grand Bay, Irvington, we're all over, and we're continuing to serve. Thank you for your time.
Hey, thank you. Thank you for what you do.
I know our time is up, but it's also important to note that Ms. Davis was the recipient of the HEPA Citizen of the Year Award recently, and I know some of you were at that particular event. And the church that she refers to, Dayspring Baptist, has provided some acreage where we're growing fresh crops. And we recently put a couple of beehive colonies on there to perpetrate the pollination, which provided an unexpected yield in terms of honey we were able to sell to raise more funds for the organization. So I'm going to trust and pray that I'm going to contact you all soon for your support, perhaps a table or something else to continue to provide these types of services to seniors in our community.
Thank you.
Mr. Chair.
Yes, sir.
To Ms. Davis, thank you for all that you're doing. I know you're listening. If you really like the award that you were given, I will just say you're welcome. I spent a lot of time designing that award, and a proud member of the HEPA program, or the HEPA organization, and we're honored that you were our first awardee.
And I was honored to receive it.
Thank you.
Yes, ma'am.
Reggie Hill.
Mr. Chairman, members of the council, Mayor Stimson administration, and citizens of Mobile, good morning.
Good morning.
I'm going to be speaking on behalf of many people. I have
Mr.
the
Hill,
privilege.
You don't mind?
My apologies.
Name and address.
Reggie Hill, 200 Government Street. Forgive me for not following the formalities. I'm going to be speaking on behalf of many people. I have the privilege to have several conversations with many of the citizens of our city, and today I simply want to have a conversation with you all here in your formal setting. There are two, feel very important items that are up for concern of all the citizens of our city, and that's revenues, how we're going to continue to maintain and keep revenues, and as well the officers that are going to lead our city council. Before going into that, I do want to congratulate the progress of the City Council and my council member, Reverend Manzi, for being elected as the Vice President. And so I'll go into the revenue piece first. I believe that many people will support the renewal of the penny sales tax. I believe that is something that has been progressive for our city. But I also believe that the people would like to see a more equitable approach of how these resources are used. If we look in today's agenda item, 21-718, I believe that was a great example of how the council can combine together and actually do something that is going to work for the whole benefit of the city. And these same examples are exactly what we need in moving forward. One of the main issues that I feel needs to be considered is the drainage issue. And if we're going to have 3 phases of a rollout for this penny tax, I believe one phase should be primarily focused on drainage. If we were to have Harvey or an Irma come to this area, we are not prepared. I spent 10 years in Huntsville, and my father went to Alabama A&M University, and it was snowing then, and when I was there, it was snowing at the same time. There was about 2 snow plows in the entire city. So the city shuts down whenever it snows. Classes are canceled, businesses are closed, and these are things that I know that people have been speaking on for quite some time. But we know about the hurricane season drastically in this area of the Gulf Coast. So if we're going to get these resources put in place for certain things in infrastructure, and we have 200-year-old pipes that need to be replaced, these are the things that we need to be focusing on. And then we can disperse those resources to our individual districts. And I believe that this is what the people would primarily like to see, because they're not going to come into town and say, I had a wonderful time in District 1 and an awful time in District wherever else. They're going to say the great or bad time they had in the city of Mobile. And so that's something that we have to look at if we're going to be allocating resources that are taxpayers' dollars. And I echo the sentiments of Councilmember Rich. We're going to have to find other ways to get these revenues as well, because it's going to hurt the poor and it's not sustainable forever. So I encourage you to look at the Riverside, which could be used like Savannah, Georgia, or New Orleans, Louisiana, which they have utilized that spacing similar to ours. And a lot of these people come to Mobile and see the things that can be done and then go off and expand it. When they have to get onto Mardi Gras, that's a whole nother topic. So this is something that I think as well with Africatown. And that is a national heirloom. And it should be preserved as such, which could then become an international heirloom. So now we have tourist attractions that are going to retain the resources, and these are fundings that will continue to grow our city so that we don't have to rely completely on a sales tax to get our revenues. Lastly, about the election of the officers. We're in a time now where we have to have bold, courageous, and straightforward leadership. And with the makeup of our city, it's going to take a diverse combination of all of our leaders if it's going to be sufficient for everybody. Now, the person that has to lead, me personally, I don't care how long you sat in the seat. I don't care where your district is. I don't care what your skin color is. I don't care anything about that. It's about how we're going to work together to better the quality of life for our citizens. And that's what I'm concerned about. I have the privilege of working with young people every day. And to hear their stories and to hear what they're experiencing, I could care less about the political rhetoric or ideological positions. It's about what are we going to be doing to preserve the future. Because regardless of how many new sidewalks and new streets and new buildings and all this stuff we put up, if the youth are not in place to preserve it, all of that is in vain. Every single piece of it. So right now I want to encourage our officers to stay consistent. If the council has done something for 30 plus years, keep that consistency. But it doesn't mean a certain push towards a certain area. It's about doing what's right. And then as we move forward as well, look at how we're going to allocate those resources. And are we giving the necessary training and messages to our young people especially so that they can preserve it? So as you're moving forward, I look forward to another 4 years of opportunities to work with each of you. I plan on sending different information to each of you and how we can collaborate together. I hope that we can move the city forward and best wishes with your endeavors. Thank you for the opportunity for the speak. One last comment.
Mr. Hill, your time.
I know, I'll be very brief, Mr. Chairman. I'll be very brief. The mention of the statement of the rules, and this has just been something that's been brought to me from many citizens. A lot of people, because of the time frame of meetings, they're not able to come down and address. Now, again, I mentioned I was in Huntsville. Most major cities allow you 15 minutes before to come in and sign up, not the Thursday prior to. But because I respect the format of what is presented, I signed up on that time. So the thing is, just consider that. That's all I want you to do. Consider the outlook of all the people as we do it. Thank you again for the opportunity to speak.
Yes, sir. Mr. Daves.
Thank you, sir. I wanted to comment on a portion of Mr. Hill's. I'm not stay or sit. I'm not going to have any questions. But drainage. You mentioned drainage, Mr. Hill, and drainage is certainly a problem in the city of Mobile. We have an antiquated stormwater drainage system. We have, and you know, the way we're situated is we can have 36-inch pipes up on Spring Hill, but if the time they get down to Ann Street, they're going into a 6-inch pipe, that water ain't going anywhere. And so you can't just fix one section somewhere. The whole, in order to make the thing work, it's got to be rebuilt all the way through town. And now you're talking about hundreds of millions of dollars. We have made some efforts at fixing the drainage, and we'll continue to work on it. Having said that, there's a reason Huntsville doesn't have snow plows, and that's because they hardly ever get any snow. So I've lived up there too. I've lived up there too, and the reason that the city of Mobile, you know, gets 63 inches of rain every year. That's a good year. This year we're going to have more. And a lot of our rain, or sometimes our rain, comes in these downpours where we get 14 inches of rain in 24 hours as we did 3 years ago. And I think we need to be honest with the citizens and say there's no municipal system in the world that can absorb 14 inches of rain in 24 hours and handle it. And so what we're going to try to continue to do is to address the drainage problems that we have, but we have limited funds, and so those funds have to be used where they can have the greatest impact. Thank you.
Mr. Richardson.
Yes, sir. You can be seated. You can be seated. I don't have no questions. Mr. Vice President, I want to just speak a word on what was said about our agenda. Any citizens out there who would like to come down and speak to us about what's on our agenda, you don't have to call nobody. You come down here, and before 10:30, because at 10:30 we close that door and everybody come in here. Before 10:30 and sign up and state what agenda item you want to talk about, and you will be recognized. But if you want to come down here to talk about us, talk to us about something not on the agenda, 99% of what they want to talk about is administrative in nature. Pipes, we don't have nothing to do with pipes, that's administration. Sidewalks and all that. The administration need time to get some facts so they can answer you properly. So if you want to talk about something that's not on the agenda, you sign up by Thursday at 2 o'clock. It'll come on our agenda. Then the administration will have time to get the research to give you the answer you seek. You can't show up to talk about us, talk to us about something not on the agenda item. Not going to be able to do that. But if you want to talk about what's on this agenda item, come on in. Sign up, you own. Thank you.
Yes, let's continue, Madam City Clerk.
Ordinances held over 84042 and 84043 are authorizing issuance of taxable general obligation warrants and tax-exempt general obligation warrants.
So moved.
Second.
Probably motion and second. Any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes.
Resolutions held over 21702, authorized contract with Acre Construction Corporation for Langen Park site furnishings.
So moved.
Second.
Probably motion and second. Is there any discussion?
Yes, sir, Mr. Chair.
Yes, ma'am.
This is in Langen Park, which is in my district. I'm excited to see these improvements being made. These are some basic furnishings and things that have been needed for a very long time, and unfortunately, they do tend to cost a lot. $83,000 for these small items does seem to be a lot, but that's just how much they cost. But it will make some improvements at the park, and it's certainly just the beginning of things that we will see happening in Langen Park.
Any further discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes.
If there's no objection, I'll take the next 5 together. Authorizing non-reimbursable agreement for relocation of utility facilities on public right-of-way with Comcast Cable, Bell South doing business as AT&T, the Board of Water and Sewer Commissioners, Mobile Gas Service Corporation, and Alabama Power Company.
So moved.
Second.
Been properly motion and second. Any discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Items passed.
09707, reallocate municipal government capital improvement funds to
So
various
moved.
capital improvement projects.
So moved.
Second.
Properly motion and second. Any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes.
37708, approve the application of Jerry Riggins doing business as RD Transport Services for a certificate of public convenience and necessity to operate a shuttle service.
So moved.
Second.
Properly motion and second. Any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes.
47709, assent to the vacation of an unopened service road which runs along the east side of Cody Road North and north of Ziegler Boulevard.
So moved.
Second.
Properly motion and second. Any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Item passes.
Ordinance is being introduced for the first time, 64044.
Motion to suspend the rules for immediate consideration of 64044.
Second.
Properly motion and second. Any discussion?
Mr. Chair, I will need to offer an amendment, I guess, or just a motion to lay this over for 4 weeks.
Second.
We need to finish. We know to finish the motion.
We're just.
It was in discussion phase, so I am
Okay.
making sure that everyone knows that this needs to be laid over for 4 weeks.
I hear a motion to lay over for 4 weeks. Is there a second?
Second.
Can I read? I need to read it first.
No,
I need to read it.
no, we're going
Yeah,
to
just-
suspend the rules first before we can even talk about the.
We got the first, and I offered a motion to suspend the rules for immediate consideration of ordinance 64044. We got to have a second.
Is there a second?
Yes.
It's been properly motion and second. We suspend the rules. Any discussion?
Yes, Mr. Chair, this needs to be laid over for 4 weeks until December 12th.
It's irrelevant.
Still got to make a motion after we
I
finish this.
No.
move.
No. No.
Let's vote.
We suspended the rules.
Let's
All right.
hold a vote to suspend the rules, and then we'll entertain the amendment. All those in favor of suspending the rules? Aye. All right.
Now.
Yes, ma'am, Mrs. Gregory.
Okay, now I'll read it. 64044, rezone property at 7681 O'Shell Road and 7660 Monk Avenue from R1 to E3.
I think we all know.
Yeah.
This needs to be laid over until December 12th. That is my motion.
Is there a second? Proper motion and second. Is there any discussion?
No.
Hear no discussion. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? All right.
Okay.
Consent resolutions being introduced for the first time, 37712 through 58717.
Motion to suspend the rules for immediate consideration of said consent resolutions.
Second. Proper motion second. Any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Passes.
If there's no objection, I'll take the first three together. 37712, 13, and 14, recommend an approval to the ABC Board for issuance of a nonprofit tax-exempt license for the Family Counseling Center of Mobile for 2017 Brunch Fest on Dolphin Street in Bentonville Square Park, and for issuance of a restaurant retail liquor license for El Papi on Dolphin Street, and for issuance of a restaurant retail liquor license for Sylvia's on South Royal Street.
So moved.
Second.
I'm going to discuss, yes. Right.
Proper motion and second. Any discussion?
Yes. I just have a question, and I don't know if it goes to legal or up to whatever, but on Sylvia's, I honest to goodness did not realize it was in Fort Condy until, and that's my fault for not looking at that address and realizing. And I just want to make sure, am I right about that? Yes. Do we get that information?
That's what Scott said, yes.
Yes, okay. Is there any liability for the city that owns that building as part of this application, or was that all taken care of? Like, we don't have any liability if anything happens in there?
Contract operate.
I mean, normally it's a private business, that's why, and I know this is a private business that's entering into this.
Yes.
At Fort Condy, the liquor license. Was there any kind of indemnification that the city would not be responsible for anything? God forbid. I didn't realize it was a city building, or I would have bought that up earlier. So I just really would like to know that.
Mr. Woods?
I didn't hear Mr. Woods.
Just a question.
Mrs. Gregory?
And this may take care of it. They are leasing the fort, is that correct, and managing the fort? So if that is the case, then this restaurant would then fall under the lease agreement for the management company?
So you're talking about what particular number?
37714.
Sure. Okay. So you're asking about liquor liability. Is that the question? Okay. So the answer is that's covered. I guess the general answer is that's covered. Liquor liability only applies to the people who are serving or illegally serving. So we're not the licensee. That's not what we're dealing with. We're not the people with the license. We being the city.
And being in our building, there's no.
Liquor liability is purely statutory. It is
So
dram
it's an
shopping.
ABC law?
It is. It's an Alabama law, but it only applies to liquor in itself, not to the premises. Premises liability and liquor liability are not the same thing. Liquor liability is dram shop law. It's only applicable to the licensee or somebody who serves liquor illegally, and that means three different things. So liquor can be served illegally if it's served to a non-member of a private club. It can be served to a person who is overserved, who is heavily intoxicated or appears to be intoxicated, and then of course there is a minor. So those are the three times that liquor liability applies, but it only applies to the licensee or somebody who's serving illegally. In this particular case, the city is not the licensee, nor will the city be serving alcohol, and premises liability is separate from liquor liability. It's only by law that you can serve liquor, otherwise you're serving illegally.
I just had a question about whether the licensee, Activation Management, what policy of insurance do they have for the premises and for the liquor service?
That's not a question for the administration. That is a question for Activation Management.
But isn't it part of their lease?
He's right back there.
obligation?
Yeah, Mr. Timler.
So that building is and this is for Mrs. Cochran's benefit, that building is not being leased from the city. That is an agreement with the History Museum, and that it's not a direct lease between us, and that's why.
With the History Museum board?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay.
Okay.
And so we carry $1 million worth of liability insurance, and we have $1 million in liquor liability insurance as well.
Okay.
But
Is the city an additional insured on that policy?
I'm certain it is, yeah, and can be. It's not an issue for us.
Can you
It's obviously not in place yet because we don't have the liquor license.
But when you get it, you will send a certificate of liability insurance?
Absolutely. Yes, ma'am.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you. I just knew we had never experienced this. So, thank you.
Thank you.
So we've had a motion and a second. We've had discussion. All those in favor? Aye. Opposed? Item passes.
There's no objection. I'll take the next three together. 58, 715, 716, and 717 are declaring weeds noxious, authorizing removal of weeds, and adding FD Roxma to the list of private contractors to abate properties declared public nuisances.
So moved.
Second.
Properly motion and second. Any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Items passed.
CIP resolutions being introduced for the first time, 21718 through 21722.
Motion for the suspension of the rules for immediate consideration of resolutions 21719, 20, and 21, and the other two would lay over for 1 week by council rules.
Properly motion and second. Any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Items passed.
20, resolution 21719, authorized contract with Acre Construction Corporation for Trinity Gardens Park Shade Structures.
So moved.
Second.
Properly motion and second. Any discussion?
Yes, Mr. Vice President, I would just like to say that this is going to be a happy day in the Trinity Gardens community. We find there are no shade trees. There's no shade at all in the park. So when the parents bring the children up there to play, they're playing in the hot sun, and there's nowhere for them to sit to watch them play, that they don't really burn up. So we have ordered shade structures, as we have in some of our other parks, and we are glad of this amenity in this park. They asked me for it, and I just want the people to Trinity Gardens to know, you ask and you will receive. It is on the way. Thank you.
Any further discussion? All those in favor? Aye. Opposed? Item passes.
Mr. Vice President, I'd ask to be excused, please.
Yes, sir.
Thank you.
21720, authorized contract with door restoration for Tomanville Public Library exterior repairs.
So moved.
Second.
Properly motion and second. Any discussion?
Yes, I would just like to say that the people at the library made it known that they had some issues with the exterior of the library, and here we go again. We have arranged for this to be taken care of, and I'm glad this is on the agenda today, and I'm sure that the people at the library and the people that comes to frequent the library are going to be mighty happy about this.
Any further discussion? All those in favor? Aye. Opposed? Item passes.
21721, authorized master services agreement with Sawgrass Consulting for 2018 CIP Arc Road infrastructure improvements.
So moved.
Second. Properly motion and second. Any discussion? All those in favor? Aye. Opposed? Item passes.
Resolutions being introduced for the first time, 01723 through 25726.
By council rules, these resolutions will lay over for 1 week.
Call for public hearings, 41727, call for public hearing to consider an amendment to Chapter 64, Section 64-4J of the Mobile City Code, Telecommunications, Towers, and Facilities to make allowances for new technology scheduled December 5th, 41728, call for public hearing to rezone property at 248 South Sage Avenue, west side of South Sage Avenue, 30 feet north of the west terminus of Briarwood Drive, from R1 and B2 to R1, scheduled December 5th.
Second.
Probably motion second, in the discussion. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Items passed.
Announcements.
We'll start with Mr. Small.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I'm so very excited this week. When I before I took council, I was introduced to Facebook, and many citizens along the South DIP side, they was always talking about it was not a recreation center for the kids for South DIP. You know, no type of facility whatsoever, no type of Boys and Girls Club. So since being on council in 2014 was our first year at the South DIPN to have a summer Boys and Girls Club at the Gilliard Elementary School. We did it 14, we did it year 15, 16, and this past year, 17, with the help of this city. And the first year with the help of Council Manzi when he was on the school board. Well, I'm proud to say that this week is beginning for the next 3 years, an all-round year program for the Boys and Girls Club for the South DIP throughout the school year at the Gilliard Elementary School. So that is some great news for the South DIPN, where the kids can have something to do after school program as far as in furthering their education with reading and math. And it's a very exciting time with South DIP, and looking forward to having some more great things coming along on that end. And not just South DIP, but throughout the District of 3. Also this coming Thursday, I will be a guest speaker at the BC Rain High School for their Veteran Day program. The program starts at 9:00 a.m. and inviting all the veterans to come out to the BC Rain High School in the gymnasium, where we will be honoring all veterans. And you do not have to live in District 3 to come out this coming Thursday. You can live anywhere in the city or surrounding areas, but inviting all veterans to come out to join myself and the faculty and staff and student body at the BC Rain High School this coming Thursday at 9:00 a.m. And again, I would like to thank the citizens of District 3 for electing me to be your representative for the next 4 years. It's a proud that I am very proud and honored to do, and I'm going to do my best. And next week, I have some more great news that's going to be coming out of District 3. And remember that District 3 is the place where things are happening. Thank you, Brother Chairman.
Mrs. Gregory.
Thank you, Mr. Vice President. Last week on Thursday at the Mobile Botanical Gardens, I held a District 7 community meeting. I do want to thank Director Barber, Chief Seeley, Assistant Chief Godwin, and Nick Amberger for coming to be my guest speakers. Also, a big thanks to the volunteers and representatives of the Mobile Botanical Gardens for the setup. If you go to visit the gardens, it is already lit up, a beautiful space for events, for walking trails, and especially with the holidays coming up, it's just a gorgeous setting. So a big thanks to them for hosting us. They always do a wonderful job. And thank you to my guest speakers who were there for the information that they provided. It's always great, and we always get a lot of good questions, so thank you very much for that. We talked earlier at our pre-conference meeting about the Airway Schillinger Road Drainage Project. It is underway. Looks like maybe another couple of weeks before the project is complete. It has caused some issues for a couple of the businesses that are along that area, but I appreciate their patience. It will be finished soon, and Nick Amberger reports that the work they are doing looks like it will do what it was supposed to do, which is to send that water that floods in that area off into larger pipes and get away from the flooding that we've been having at that intersection there. Also, just got word, actually last night, but some official word this morning, the TAP grants have been awarded, Transportation Alternative Program. The Project Selection Committee had 6 of 13 applications that they awarded, and 2 of them came to the City of Mobile. 1 is in my area, which I'm very excited about. The north side of Old Shell Road from the west side of Parkway Drive to University Boulevard. The Village of Spring Hill will be matching that. The total amount then is just over $239,000 So I'm very happy about that new grant award that goes along with one that has been previously awarded by the same group, the state, which is the north side of Old Shell from Myrtlewood to I-65. And again, the Village of Spring Hill is matching that. They raise money throughout the year. The sidewalk-a-thon is coming up soon, and the money that those kids raise go toward these matches. So excited to see these sidewalks coming through grants from the state. Always nice to get money from them instead of having to come from our budgets. And that will do me, Mr. Chair.
Thank you, Mr. Richardson.
Thank you, Mr. Vice President. I would just like to commend the city clerk and her staff for putting on a tremendous inauguration ceremony last night. It was well attended, and the food was outstanding. It was just an outstanding event last night. And you can see why we needed to be at the convention center with the overflowing crowd we had there last night. It's where we should have been. So I would just like to commend you all for putting on a first-class event. On next Tuesday at the council meeting, our Vice President, Councilmember Tina Gregory, Ms. Director Diane Irby, and myself will be heading to Charlotte, North Carolina. The National League of Cities will be in session. They have asked us to come and present to their attendees our CIP program in Mobile. Other cities want to know how we did it. We want us to share that information with them. We're going to have an opportunity to showcase the city of Mobile and its CIP program really to the nation, because delegates will be there from cities all over America, and we're looking forward to going up there and putting on a great presentation. Thank you.
Mr. Davis.
Thank you, Mr. Vice President. One last reminder, we have a District 5 community meeting this evening at 6 o'clock p.m. at St. Pius X Catholic Church on South Sage Avenue. I hope that the mayor will be joining us. I know that Public Safety Director Barber will be there, and Public Services Director Harkins will be there. So again, at 6 o'clock p.m. tonight, St. Pius X Catholic Church, South Sage Avenue. Thank you.
Mrs. Rich.
Thank you very much. Last Sunday was the Fall and Holiday Bazaar up at the Senior Center, and that is supported by the foundation, which is a 501c3 group, that any of the funds that they raise go directly back into the Senior Center. This was their first event, and it was extremely well received for the first time, and even the vendors were asking as they were packing up their wares when we would do it again in the spring. There were Santa photos, which was a big hit. I was able to take a picture with Santa myself. And this is also a senior citizen who normally goes up to the center. And I immediately asked him if he would consider being an Easter bunny. And I hope he'll give that great thought. So it was because it was a very popular item for families to come up and get those photographs. Tomorrow at the Senior Center is the 9th birthday anniversary for the doors opening to that center for the community, and there'll be a celebration up there at 3 o'clock, I believe, or 2 perhaps. Veterans Day, of course, is this going to be celebrated greatly on Friday in our city and observed on Monday, being that the 11th is actually on a Saturday this year. One of the veterans who will be honored is a resident in District 6, and I'd like to give him a great shout out, and that's Captain George Kridemeyer. And he will be recognized as, I believe, the Veteran of the Year. So that's exciting, and I'm glad to have been supporting him for that recognition as well. On December 13th, There'll be a holiday party up at the senior center. We did a breakfast last year. It was so well attended. And that will be at 9 a.m. and we'll also give out socks to seniors. So be looking for more details on that. But that's a breakfast that we really look for people to come out and celebrate with us in December. Thank you.
I want to start my remarks by first thanking the citizens of District 2 for the awesome privilege to continue to represent you and your sentiments and concerns here on the Mobile City Council. I want to thank my colleagues for the confidence that you placed in me to serve as your Vice President. And I also want to assure the citizens of the City of Mobile that we're going to continue the progressive movement that you've experienced over the last 4 years. As often has been said, this is a bold, courageous, and progressive council. And there has not been an impasse, there's not been an issue where we could not reach consensus. It might take us a while, and we might lose our tempers, and which is what they give us offices for. But at the end of the day, we have a record of reaching consensus, and even with the impasse that we are at now, I can assure you we will reach consensus. We have tasked our new council attorney to expediently research and the state laws and other pertinent data to give us a finding, give us an opinion from her perspective. We're expecting that as quickly as she can deliver it. In the meantime, the level of service that you've come to enjoy will be here. All 7 of us are working hard to make certain that not only our individual districts are represented, but the administration and also the council is working to make certain that the business of the city moves forward progressively. And so again, I thank you for this awesome privilege. I can remember some 20 years ago sitting where Ms. Lana is now as a member of the youth council, listening to Clint Johnson running city council meetings, and to have even this 1 week to have that opportunity is quite a blessing. And so are there any other announcements? Mr. Richardson?
Yes, Mr. Vice President. Yesterday, we voted for Attorney Cochran to be our attorney.
Yes, sir.
I don't think we were televised. I don't think the citizens know what's going on. She stood up. Didn't nobody see her but the people in here. I believe it would be proper to present her to the entire city this morning so they all can see her, because this meeting is going to be streamed straight to live, and I think we need to present her now.
I don't disagree with you, Mr. Richardson. Ms. Cochran, if you don't mind, we just come and have a few introductory remarks, and we want to introduce the city formally to our new city council attorney. She's no stranger to the law or to this community.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. It's a pleasure to be here, and I know there has been some discord about the issue of presidency. I want to assure you that I am going to represent each of you, the organization as a client, and I hope to earn your trust over time, because I felt yesterday that perhaps there may be some lack of trust. So I just want to be open with you and invite you to call me, but I will do the best that I can. And if I'm not, let me know.
I guarantee you we will.
I understand that. Councilman Manzi is my counselor, District 2. And anyway, I look forward to it.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
And Mr. Vice President, we want to ask the city clerk's office, as soon as they get the email and numbers and sale numbers from the city on our new attorney, let us know.
Yes, sir. Any further announcements? Any from the administration? Do I hear a motion?
So moved.
Is there a second?
Second.
Probably motion and second. Any discussion?
No.
Meeting adjourned.